live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.
Hey, listen, this is what, episode 3 of Before Terrible Talk. And before we go any further, before the Steelers can make any decisions on free agency in the draft, they have to evaluate their own roster like we evaluated it. Logistically speaking, they suck. They're a C-level team with D-level coaching, and that's being nice. Notice I didn't say talent because let's be honest here, you guys. Some of these guys have minimal talent, but make up that C roster and coached by those D-level coaches. On episode 2, we broke that all down for you. Today, we're going to talk about who should we keep, who should we cut, who should we sign, and who should we trade. And that speaks for itself. If you don't understand, you probably need to move on from the show. And to be quite honest with you, we don't really care. We love you being here. We love you leaving. So let me get the guys here. The guys are ready to rock and roll, fellas.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Yep. Let's go.
You know, you notice we're all sporting little 4-1-2, some Steelers, little something. Fellas, that free agent list is, I don't know, man. Not one quarterback is available except for Skylar Thompson. Okay, so that free agent list starts out with this. It starts out with Russell Wilson, Kyle Allen, and Justin Fields. Then you got Najee Harris, Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, Michael Pruitt, James Daniels, Nate Herbig, big Nate. Dan, get your ass out the door, Moore Jr., Isaiah Loudermilk, that's one of Sheen's favorite guys. Landon Roberts, Tyler Big Red Medikevich, Dante Jackson, don't call me Michael, Cameron Sutton, he got the beat down, and Jeremiah Moon. That's your
No, DeMonte KZ.
DeMonte KZ, yeah. And then getting into exclusive rates, guys, which means they can't go anywhere if we don't let them go anywhere. Oh. It's Ryan McCollum, who was a third-string center and got some snaps this year, did okay. Jeremiah Moon was the other guy. And then one and only one restricted free agent, and that was Jaylen Warren. So let's talk about these guys. Who are you keeping?
Before we start this, is this a good list? Like, I mean, it looks like a small list. I guess that's good, right? Because it's a small list.
That's a good thing. I mean, It could be. I guess as a friend used to always say, it's good and terrible.
Okay.
It's good and terrible. Okay. It just all depends.
Okay.
No, I get you. To me, I think I'd like that list to be a little bit bigger. To be honest with you, there's some other guys that. Well, they got rid of one of them already. They got rid of Preston Smith. They saved what, $12 million or some shit?
13
million. They have the 9th most money headed in the free agency. The 9th most money.
I like it.
Yeah, but keep this in mind, Sheen. They gotta pay a quarterback.
Not this year.
They gotta pay.
And with that said, which quarterback are you keeping?
Let's get into it.
All right, let's talk about keepers out of that list. Russell Wilson, yay or nay?
Not with that line.
I'm not talking about that line. I'm talking about him as a player. I'm evaluating his specific talent.
Yes, I would. If we're going talent-wise, yes. He threw one pick, and he threw 3. Only one was his fault. He can still throw. He still has accuracy. That's why teams are still going to go after Aaron Rodgers. So if we're going talent-wise, yes.
Waddy, what do you think?
Okay.
Oh, God, man.
I can go Waddy if you want.
No, I'm torn because for me, I'm at the point of I need one of them. I don't care which one necessarily. I have a favorite over one, but if I don't get one, I got to have the other. So what I'm saying is we got to sign one of those two. I don't care which one at this point.
Okay. And so Chop said that Wilson only threw 3 picks. One was not his fault.
No, only one was his fault.
Oh, I'm sorry. Calm down, Chops, killer. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Calm down, Chops. Dang. Hey, but listen, Justin Fields only threw 2.
You're absolutely right. But at some point, they can – how can I say this? Okay, prime example. Your boy, what's his name? He just won the Super Bowl. You talk about guys say, when I'm saying you, I'm not saying you as in dream, but they'll say he's not a great passer. However, he hasn't been labeled a great passer. He's better than average, but he's not a great passer. Okay. But he could also drop it down and run it. But even when he couldn't, we know he still has receivers. And even though we hit his arm because he doesn't have many yards, they just question, why doesn't he pass? Fields has always been, is he even accurate? We showed in high school when he went to an in college, when your boy Hurts went to an all-passing team in Oklahoma, that boy can sling it. He can sling it. So my thing with Fields is he's a hell of an athlete. And if you're going just talent-wise with what he can do, and as Barbara said, don't take the O-line and all that into it, which is really hard to do.
Yeah.
If you're going pure passer and passing what we still want the quarterback to be able to do more of than run, I would say I would like Russ over him. But to me, see, here's the thing though.
Russ,
it's hard because I can't compartmentalize like that. Because even if you get the greatest quarterback, you guys already know how I feel. Receivers and O-lines letting them down. So, I mean,
and with that said, Fields can get out the way.
Yeah, but it's so long. But here's the thing: he'll have more rushes than Saquon Barkley by the end of the season, because even when he gets outside the pocket, the receivers are not going to last for 17 games getting open enough to, you know what I'm saying? That's my issue. We already read your boy won't go across the middle.
Right. I just don't like that about Wilson. He doesn't throw to the tight end enough. He doesn't go over the middle. They said he's too short. Is he too short?
Won't call it.
Is he too short also?
He's right, though. It's both things.
Right.
If you read the recent article written about Mike Tomlin said clearly he doesn't like to throw the ball over the middle because there's a better chance of it getting intercepted. So this just goes back to his cliche of living in your fears, because he obviously lives in his fears because he won't take chances down the middle. You know,
let me ask you guys something.
Go ahead.
Real quick, because I want you to answer this too, Waddy, and you can add just say. And I know, do you guys feel, even in articles, not even talking about what I mean, articles being written, do you starting to think I don't want to say the hate, but the skepticism, the criticism of Tomlin is getting a little heat? Is it getting a little hotter? Is it stepping? Are we reading more of it this year? Or is that me? Like just, or do you guys not see it, or am I tripping?
I want to hear Waddy.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the heat has been turned up. I think, as we are frustrated, I think the fans are frustrated. So therefore the reporters and everybody else are frustrated. But my thing is with it is that I don't know what's true and what's not. That's where I struggle with, because sometimes they be putting stuff out there that doesn't make sense.
Just to talk.
I read it. Yeah. And then I read it and I'm like, what? And then, then they put out another article and it's like, come on, you guys aren't serious. So they're kind of all over the place with their articles. But I do think the heat is definitely on. And I think it's on to produce, which is fair. That's fair. But
I will say this.
I just don't know what to believe.
I'll say this to back up what you said. There are certain guys that are inside that office on a daily basis, and they've been there for years. When somebody like Jerry Dulac, somebody like Ray Filippo, those guys, even Bob Smizek, when those guys write something, you better open your eyes because they've been around forever. And the reason I said, no, it's not the problem. They're inside that building. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. It's Steeler Nation. They don't know what's going on. They're taking a guess. They're taking a stab in the dark, but they get a little closer stab because they're in Pittsburgh and we're not. But I mean, like, I'm telling you, those guys are inside that building. And when they tell you something's going to go down, just like today, they talked about how it's a split jury when it comes to Fields and when it comes to Russ. So the old man, the owner, he wants Russ. That's what he wants. And Tomlin wants Fields. The OC wants Fields.
But okay, so let me ask you that. Hold on, though. If you guys believe that, which makes me go back to the question I've always asked, how much power does Tomlin really have? And people said he does, and I've said it for years. I'm confused because it's hard for me to believe. So if Tomlin wanted Fields, if the OC wanted Fields, why did we not see Fields at all really contribute at all during that 4-game skid and not a lick in the playoff game when we had read that they were putting in packages for him?
That was a what I like to call a political move. That's what I feel. I don't know, but I know there was a draft pick that was associated with Fields in when they traded for him. There was a draft pick involved.
If he played too much.
Yes, if he played a amount, then it moved up, and if he didn't, then it stayed where it was at. I'm almost certain because the Steelers are notorious for doing that type of a move.
It was a 6th-round pick. If he got less than I forget what the actual snap count was. It was a 6th-round pick.
I thought it was like 40% or something.
Yeah, and 40%. If he got over that number, they had to give up a 3rd-round pick, and that would have been the only 3rd-round pick they have this year. They're loaded with 3 7th-round picks, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 3 7s. They have no 5th.
But he started 6 games and played minimal snaps here and there. I gotta believe there was a whole lot more snaps he could have played and still been under that 40%. You mean hell, if he starts every game, he could at least start at 8 games and still, you know what I mean? Or because there's not, I don't know, man. I thought about that.
So we're split on Fields and Wilson. Does that mean Allen comes back as the 2nd or 3rd?
No mention of Allen just yet.
No
mention.
I would draft a quarterback. For that part, I would draft a guy because you already have Skyler.
What round would you go, Waddy?
Well, it depends on who's on the board at the time. I'm probably looking at, let's say Jason Dart is sitting there in the 2nd round. Jackson, I'm sorry, is sitting there in the 2nd round. Depending on what I got in the 1st round, I might take a shot.
Or depending on what you get in free agency too.
That's true. Yeah, I might take a shot at him in the 2nd. Why not?
One of the things that they talk about that the Steelers need a lot, and we got off topic already, but
it's okay.
One of the things they talk about is replenishing that D line. But if you look at the D linemen coming out, it's a deep draft with D linemen. So they don't have to take one the 1st or 2nd. They can grab one in the 3rd.
But do you want one in the 3rd? Because remember, Cam Hayward's about to leave out. So do you want one in the 3rd or do you want one in the 1st?
Maybe they'll pick something.
Or do you sign the guy from Philly? Yes.
Oh, that kid.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he fits what they want to do.
Yeah.
You got to take into consideration when you're signing guys, when you're looking at guys, do they play that 3-4 that Pittsburgh likes to play? Because their role and their responsibilities are totally different in the 3-4 than the guys who play the 4-3. So we're kind of split on quarterbacks too, I would say. Yes. Chops definitely wants Russ. I'll to be honest with you guys, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't care if they keep either one of them, to be honest with you. I know you got to have somebody. I get that piece, but I don't care if they keep either one of those guys. I would rather they had a losing season and have one of the top picks next year because that's a premium group of quarterbacks coming out next year led by Arch Manning.
Okay, but Mark, Arch can throw every route you want. Why would you, if you could get that high and get an Arch Manning, you get a pure thoroughbred, and then you take him to walk him around the park at the carnival? What I'm saying is, why would they take Arch Manning when they only throw limited routes and they don't do anything crossing? Why would you take a high price?
Because he changes the game. He changes the game. You don't have to do that. It's like Ben. You go back to Ben. I go back to Ben, and Ben would throw it anywhere on that dang field.
You're right. So but let's not forget.
It depends on who you have.
But hold on. We saw even in Chicago, Fields was throwing across the middle. That was just a horrible organization. We saw in his entire career, Russell Wilson could throw across the middle. They said they had him as a first-round grade, Mason Rudolph, even though they took him and they had him as a first-round grade talent, even though they took him in the third. They still didn't run crossing routes with him. I think Ben was throwing those crossing routes and slinging it because he had been in the league so much, loved in Pittsburgh. Had they changed the playbook, he could have bitched, and there's no way Tomlin would have wanted to face that public scrutiny of sitting Ben when Ben had two. I just don't know, man. I just don't think
it's a twofold thing here, though, Chops, because Tomlin's only going to be around a couple more years.
Yeah,
let's not kid ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So now if he takes Arch Manning, and still lives in his fears, because again, your family knows you. I don't care what it is, but if you woke up tomorrow doing something completely different, every last one of your family members, your kids, your wives will realize it. Why do we believe that Tomlin, all of a sudden, even if he had a great quarterback like that, would still, okay, now I'm going to open it up and we're just going to throw across the middle? He didn't even try throwing across the middle this year. He was that afraid. I don't get with established quarterback. So now would he with a rookie?
I'm going to tell you the truth about Arch, too. I'm not throwing him in with the dogs right away. I'm just not doing that. We're all about that. If I'm taking Arch Manning next year, because we're not doing what we need to do, this is not a Super Bowl roster. I got to entertain for picks for TJ Watt. I got to realize that Cam Hayward's going to be done. I got to entertain for Minka, and we're going to get to all that shit if we play our cards right here tonight. But like the whole dynamic of this quarterback position is what's held them back. And if you could go out and get yourself a first grade top shelf quarterback, it don't matter if you throw the ball or not right now.
You had the Steelers had 5 linemen. 2 of them made the all rookie team. And still our line could not give either quarterback time back there to pass, even with his great wheels.
I will say this about Wilson. He tends to hold on to the ball way too long. And then Justin, he needs to trust himself. He just won't throw it. I don't know why. I don't know if he's become gun shy with it or what. But dude, just throw it, and he won't.
Well, do you think the lack of crossing routes, and if we know Tomlin is afraid of his own fears, do you think he is putting that in his quarterbacks and a young guy who's already coming into your squad with the label he can't pass? Do you think they're preaching that to him as in Fields every practice? You can't turn it over. So now he is scared.
Do I think that, or do I know that without even being there? Because I'll tell you right now, Tomlin always said he liked a mobile quarterback, and that was why they went after Fields. That was a big reason.
He didn't use them.
Yes, please.
Right. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on inside those 4 walls. We're just guessing, to be honest with you, as you know very well. But I can tell you right now that he's always said that he loves a mobile quarterback.
Sure.
And he got his chance. He got the kid, and he went 4-2. He had one turnover, one legit turnover. Like,
yeah.
And
I think that'll be. I think Justin Fields is the one that they want to re-sign ultimately.
Look at the guy.
He's going to. Yeah, he's not going to cost them as much money, and Steelers love a deal, and Russell's going to cost you more money. So, the common sense says, let me go out here. I'll give Justin 10. I'll give you 10. And the market for him is only 7 to 8.
That's just what I was going to ask. Do you think, honestly, do you think Fields did anything? Do you think the Steelers even showcased him enough for him to make his value go up?
I don't think
apparently for the Jets, I think they're interested. But if I'm Justin Fields, do I really want to go there?
Terry Glenn?
Aaron.
I think Terry Glenn is going to change that. Aaron, my bad. I think Aaron Glenn, who he's hiring ex-coaches. If I'm Fields, I would definitely like to go to New York. And he got receivers and a nice running back. Receivers get open. Receivers actually get separation. Sign me up, Jack.
O-line stinks.
That's not my issue. Yeah, O-line and the ownership there are terrible.
I think I got to believe Glenn is going to change that mindset. I got to believe that the same way Snyder did in Washington. I believe he's going, or Glenn will be going after the first year. The way Glenn is as a player, as a coach.
That's another subject.
All right, let's move it on to Najee Harris, y'all.
Do we sign?
What we doing with Najee?
Do we sign him? Because there's whispers that they're looking at re-signing him.
Who?
If we do like Watson said and move him up 2 steps like we did Bussy, yes. If not, no. We don't control it.
Here it's tricky though, because no disrespect, to put Najee in the same category as Bettis, that's a stretch to me.
No.
Because here's my thing. Now here'd be the thing, Waddy. You move him up 2 feet. Yes, he hits the hole
not
quicker.
2 feet, not 2 feet, just 2. I'm talking a step in. I'm talking a step.
Okay.
Yeah,
but even
that's
if
all
you
I'm
move,
saying. It's a step.
even if you move
1
him
yard.
up, even if you move him up, do you think he still sees the field as good? Because you do see it more when you have. I mean, I understand it's only a yard, half yard. You know what I'm saying? That would be the thing.
I think he gets there quicker, and then you can from there. Then it's all instinct. Once you get to the hole, then it's instinct.
But now since they didn't sign him, other teams have the option to sign Najee first. Not first, but he can listen to anybody else. Because even if you don't think he hits the hole well, which none of us really do, I think you're going to have more creative offensive coordinators elsewhere tell them, yes, you had 2 O-linemen rookies that made rookie of the year, so your O-line should be better. Jones going to his position left tackle, he should be better. But I don't understand why the Steelers didn't pay him, because he'd have been cheaper just picking up his 5th-year option, because he's always there. And when I say he's always there, he hadn't missed games for them. That is important.
The best availability, ability is having availability, and he hasn't missed a game.
No.
And you know what? You can undersell the fact that he had 1,000 yards, but Elvin Kamara never had 1,000 yards in the backfield. Like this guy, he didn't. Not as a running back.
Kamara was nice though. He could do so much other stuff.
Return kicks.
Yeah,
catch the ball.
Because they had an offense designed to have him do that too.
Yes.
If you think that Jalen Warren is going to be your marquee back, I think you're sadly mistaken. Even though he gives you something when he comes off the bench, he is not a marquee back. I don't care what anybody says.
I can't say that anymore because we all thought nobody expected to see from Henry what they saw with the Baltimore this year. There were a lot of people that were like, the Baltimore got him, but he's nowhere what he used to be. But he got with a team that knows how to use him, has a nice running game. And I think Henry shocked all of us with what he didn't put up numbers.
I do. Quarterback that runs the ball.
I'm not, and I get that. But even when you were putting it in the box and you knew Henry was still breaking tackles and running away from cats.
He was doing that because he had a quarterback that runs the ball. They could do the zone read. They could do whatever they wanted with him.
Because none of the other backs looked as good behind Lamar as Henry did.
That's because they only got 3 or 4 carries at a clip. You can dice it up any way you want to. I'll give Derrick Henry and Lamar all the credit in the world as far as running the ball goes. And they did have a very suspect line. In fact, they're letting Ronnie Stanley walk. But at the end of the day, you got to believe that even though 1,000 yards is just 1,000 yards in 17 games now, it's still 1,000 yards behind a woeful line. And one other thing, Chops, I called them Tops. One other thing, they would have had 3 rookie linemen that made that all rookie team. I guarantee. I just felt like Fatanu, he was going to break out. Like he was just going to be a monster. He has that Samoan mentality in him. You could see it after that first scrimmage. You could see it in that second one. He had that mentality.
You said something very interesting, and that was the zone read. Here's something for you to think about. If Russell Wilson comes back, they get rid of Najee. If Russell Wilson comes back, you keep Najee. If Justin Fields comes back, you get rid of Najee. And then I say that because I think of that zone read. Who's the better zone read? Najee, that doesn't really fit his style.
It doesn't really fit
because he's got to stop and go. And go. That's not Najee. So think about that too, on which quarterback comes back, and is that, are we going to keep Najee?
You got to look at a guy like Waddy, and that's a great point. You got to look at a guy like the kid in Dallas. Dowdell, is that his last name?
Yes, Rico.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of guy you want running the ball in that zone read shit. You want somebody who's got good eyes and can see 2 steps ahead of them and can cut back through the big bodies. That's never going to be Najee. And it's not Jalen Samuels. Jalen Samuels is a change of pace back. He takes the ball and he runs straight downhill like a bowling ball. He reminds me of like Isaac Redman or someone like that.
Frank Pollard.
Frankie P. So are we signing Najee at the end of the day? Or are we going to go with the philosophy, if it's Russ, you keep him. If it's Justin, you cut him.
For me, yes, that's what I'm doing. If I re-sign Justin, then because he doesn't fit what that zone. He doesn't fit it. But if I got Russ, then I need Najee.
Let me give you 2 receivers. I'm sorry, Sheen.
I'm only keeping him if the money is right. I ain't giving you nothing crazy. Like if you made $4 million this year, I give you 5.
Give him a bump. Yeah, and maybe sign him to a 1-year deal. Make him sign to prove it. But running backs don't make money anymore. And then you still go out and you get yourself one.
Yeah.
You still have to. So, hey, 2 receivers, free agent, Van Jefferson and Mike Williams. Either one of them coming back for you?
Mike Williams.
Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson. He was more our 5th receiver or 4th, 5th receiver.
3rd.
So for me, he was our what?
He was our 3rd. He got a ton of snaps.
He did.
Yeah,
he might have been number 2.
My point is exactly too many. Thank you, Sheen. It's way too many. No, Mike Williams. Depending on what that price is, I might kick the tire. But it just because we're so thin. We're thin at receiver that we don't have anything else. That's what's scary. It's scary. I don't know. Like I don't need either one of them, to be honest. But
yes, true.
If I had to, but
right.
We're so thin. We're so.
Here's the thing, fellas. What decent receiver? I'm not even saying good. Not even good. What decent receiver would want to come to Pittsburgh? I don't care if you kept Fields or if you kept Russ, because watching it, they're saying, okay, with 2 all-pro, with 2 all-rookie players, now you're going to have a 3rd, but you're still a super-duper young line. You don't run across the middle. Your playbook is equivalent to any junior high playbook. No, seriously, what decent receiver would want to come to Pittsburgh? And I'm saying that to say, like, are we really going to have whether you get rid of Van Johnson or you sign Williams, whoever you get in there replace is not going to be much better. Real talk. And I didn't say it to you guys, but I was in another text thread today. This is when we always hear guys want to play for Tomlin. This is where I say they don't. And I say that because you're not hearing anybody jocking, I want to go to Pittsburgh. You're not seeing anybody tweeting, yo, Khan, hit me up. Yo, Tomlin, hit me up. Where you will see other guys that may consider want to go elsewhere. Nobody even ever mentions, I want to go to Pittsburgh. I want to play for. They don't do that. Now, if you ask about Tomlin, oh, he's a great guy. I want to play for him. Well, bring your ass. I mean, you can show me better than you can tell me. Come to Pittsburgh. But we don't see it. That's why they don't pay nobody. That's true.
That's why they got. Hey, they're not done freeing up money. I hate to tell you, they're not done.
No. You're right.
They're going to sign T.J. Watt to an extension, and that's going to free up money the way they develop that. That's what's going to happen there. And they're going to go to Cam, and they're going to say, "Hey, Cam, we gave you the cash. We told you we gave you what you wanted. Let's restructure that a little bit, and they'll get some ghost years out of that." They're not done by no far stretch of imagination.
So what Tomlin will do, sign some more retreads, other guys retreads, like he brought back Terrell Edmond, Cam Sutton. Eventually, yes, maybe, people, I want to believe he'll change, but fellas, we're just not seeing it. Since Ben has been gone, all the QBs have been the same. The running game, the passing game has been the same.
If anything, take a look at both of those guys. Van Jefferson had a solid number. Van Jefferson had a solid number 4 receiver season. Yeah. He caught some touchdowns, made a couple big catches. He's a really good blocker. He deserves another $2 million contract at the end of the day. Mike Williams didn't get a chance in Pittsburgh, and I wouldn't even listen to what they have to say if I was Mike Williams. There's no way. And you read about Cooper Kupp, you read about Deebo Samuel, you read about all these guys out there. Now that's the guys that are going to be like, I ain't going to Pittsburgh. Are you freaking kidding me? Those guys don't even want to. Why?
Deebo would.
He could because he could carry the ball.
He can carry the ball. Yeah, that's your Patterson who can actually run.
Okay, so you have Deebo Samuels. You've seen now. You're Deebo. Put your mind in Deebo's. You have been in San Fran.
I said Deebo could. I didn't.
He could because his ability and what he can do. But if you're Deebo, right? If you're Deebo, you know what offense you came from. Even if they ticked you off, whatever, you got upset with whatever. The way they use him, you sit back and watch the Steelers playbook, knowing it's going to be the same OC. Dog, I need my rep. I need my reps. I need my money, and I don't get my money anywhere else unless I'm getting numbers. I don't know, fellas. I don't. Every receipt for last. Go ahead, Waddy.
For Deebo, it's going to be a little bit different because he will have to be traded. He's not a free agent unless he gets cut.
Yeah, they already said he's a June 1st cut.
Is he? Okay.
He's a June 1st cut. Right. They already made that clear.
Okay.
Look for Kupp to get cut like that if he doesn't sign anywhere. They said Kirk Cousins is another one of those guys. He's going to get cut after June 1st if they don't sign. And do not circle back to Kirk Cousins as the quarterback. I want nothing to do with that guy. Nothing. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
No.
Hey, so
he can throw across the middle.
And he would.
He'd be benched because the coach didn't call it.
We're basically up in the air there. Michael Pruitt, we're not bringing him back. There ain't no way. We'll draft another guy. James Daniels, Nate Herbig, Dan Moore. I say let Moore walk, let Herbig walk because of his injury. And James Daniels is definitely not coming back. They're not spending big money on him when they've got Mason McCormick, who stepped up and made all rookie team.
Yeah. Do you think Moore will go somewhere else and get better? Because don't forget, he played because Jones couldn't beat him out.
Did anybody read the article? Did anybody read the piece by Derwin Gray, who played for Maryland, drafted by Pittsburgh, who learned all he learned from the guys playing the game already? Not Sean Saray, not the other clowns that were coaching him. Definitely, none of those guys. He learned from the other people that were playing. So that speaks volumes to me.
Yes,
it does. But to me, it also, I ask, was he so low on the depth chart that we don't got time for this guy? Like, hey man, work with this guy, Ramon. You know what I mean? Like, he was so low on the chart.
I could say that if there were a lot of other players that were developing into great linemen.
Foster.
You've had a couple, but if you've had a couple linemen, or you've had quite a few linemen that have developed into studs on that O-line for Tomlin and his coaching staff, then yeah, dog, that's just you. But we've seen other players didn't do anything and they didn't become what Tomlin thought they would be, or he's signing other people's retreads. Then you see Doxson, who you knew you were playing out of position, then you get rid of him because he's not performing. Okay, I don't know how that works. He's out of position. If I ask you, Tomlin, to coach the girls softball team, they're going to get their ass kicked. That's not what you do. But Doxson goes to another team, and now my man is producing. You know what I'm saying? So
we've heard oftentimes that once you get in Tomlin's doghouse, you don't get out. And that's what Roman Wilson did this year. And all they did was put him right back on the IR with whatever they said he had. They did Dotson dirty. They cut his ass loose. I mean, they've done dirty to some guys.
Absolutely.
You know,
And it'd be and Tomlin, you could do that, in my opinion, if you were Dabo Sweeney, where Dabo, he is now, but Dabo for the longest wouldn't take transfer portal guys. But he was still winning, still doing what he had to do. Now I realize you're going to need the portal guys. Tomlin, if you were still winning playoff games, if you were still doing something, making us fans feel like we had something to play for come January and late January, that's one thing. But for you to say you're in my doghouse, you won't get out, your guys on Sunday aren't kicking ass that you can tell anybody who has talent, yo, just sit back. I'll play you when I want. It don't, no, man. It just, and if I love Tomlin, I do. And if he'd have been in any other organization, he'd have been fired. You realize, like I said, the Eagles have been to two Super Bowls with different coaches, won 2 Super Bowls, been to 3, won 2 different Super Bowls with different coaches since Tomlin has had a playoff win.
Who was our last playoff win, by the way?
16.
Who was it?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, they shouldn't have won that, guys.
No.
If Burfict didn't lose his shit, and if
I know
Pac-Man didn't lose his shit, they wouldn't have won that.
And then we lost to who? The Broncos?
Lost to the Broncos, lost to Jacksonville.
The Broncos game, I put the Broncos game on the goddamn players. They came that was terrible.
Yeah,
I put that on them.
Yeah. You know. All right, so we're done with the linemen. We don't really want anything back there. D lineman, the only guy that's lingering there, realistically, is Isaiah Loudermilk. Do we want this guy back because we're so old, or what do we want to do with this guy?
The milk's gone sour.
It's cottage cheese.
Well,
yeah, I think the injuries have.
I think you could bring anyone in, Barber. I think anyone you could bring in rookie wise, or even just a veteran.
Yeah.
I just think he never got any better. Like he never got any better.
They're taking the guy from. I just read this. They're taking the guy from Texas A&M. Remind me of his name, fellas. He came in as a DN. Yeah, they're moving him to outside linebacker. So you'll have all 4 outside linebackers under contract, which is perfectly fine with me. You don't have to go out and get another piece like that. You can leave somebody on that practice squad in case you need to pull him.
He's been a little outside these past couple years.
Yeah. So that's probably a good thing there for him. Landon Roberts, he's a must. You got to re-sign that dude. I don't even think it's a question mark. We don't have to discuss it. Go ahead, John.
Yes, because he's like that. But you have to put Wilson on the field more. He made rookie team. So so he gets more reps. Does Landon Roberts, who started, is he cool with sitting back and taking back, or is he going to see? Do you think somebody else will offer him some dough? You still got Queen, so you can only play 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? What do you do?
Well, Peyton, you can put Peyton on the field in a run situation or pass situation. And I say that meaning if you're not quite sure, say it's 3rd down and 6, could be, or I'm sorry, 2nd down and 6. Peyton could be on the field in either one of those situations, and you could still keep those other 2 linebackers out there.
He can carry a back and he can carry a tight end. Waddy.
He can cover.
One of the things
you a little flexibility.
One of the things I think they need to do with Peyton Wilson is teach him how to rush the quarterback, because he's quick as hell. Yeah. He's fast.
But as Waddy said, on like 2nd or 3rd down. So that's situational ball. You don't think Wilson's good enough to be on the field more than just a situational cat?
You need a rotation. I disagree.
They're not
going to go there. We can go there, but you need a rotation on the D-line. You need a rotation at the outside. You need rotation.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you guys think Wilson, talent-wise, is a starter?
Yes, I do.
Well, because of the day's NFL, it's different. It's different because of the way you have different personnel on the field. I mean, like against the Ravens, he's going to struggle because he's a little light. They're just going to come downhill at him, and it's going to be
Shazier wasn't heavy, though. Shazier wasn't a big dude.
He might put something on. He's going to get bigger and stronger this offseason. Yeah. I say yes.
Okay, so is Roberts
that's what the Steelers are probably hoping.
Yeah. Is Roberts a starter?
Roberts is a run stuffer, and he's a hitter.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
And Queen messed up a little bit, but I think he's still a starter.
Yeah.
So you legit have 3 starters at the middle linebacker position.
Yeah,
Yes,
That's a good problem. That's
yes,
a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem. It's a great problem to have. But if you're Landon Robert, you don't want to be in a rotation when you know you're a starter. I think Roberts goes elsewhere.
does.
I think Robert signs elsewhere. I think Robert signs
He's in
elsewhere.
rotation anywhere he goes. Chops. He can't cover the pass.
Yeah, he can't.
You're
cover
right,
that.
but hold on.
He's
You're right. But that is going to be truly situational, where it's maybe second and long, third and long. At the Steelers, I
what
think
happens
he's going
to
to be.
teams like Kansas City, Chops? Not to cut you off, but what happens to teams like Kansas City? You throw the ball 4 out of 5 downs.
Yeah, he
can't play against them.
No.
Yeah, but how often you playing at Kansas City?
Cincinnati in our division. He ain't going to be on the field that often.
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't think Lambert. I don't think Roberts will stay. If he's talking to him, and I think he's earned his way to get more money, I'm not going to sign here to Pittsburgh. No, I'm being a rotation.
You don't think
like
he's
that.
coming back, but you would sign him if he wanted.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Without question. Oh, it's definitely a good. It's definitely a good problem to have. I like Wilson. I thought he should have been playing more. Maybe start a couple games last year. I really do. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
we'll see.
All right, cut all these DBs. Cut them all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm
Porter.
No, I
like
can't
Beanie.
cut them all. I can't.
No.
You can cut them, but I
these
like
two
Beanie.
guys. These 2 guys, Dante Jackson, you could let him walk. Although I will say this about him. I'll say that he was solid up until he hurt his back, and then he disappeared when you needed him the most. So as far as I'm concerned, he's 30 years old. Let him go. Go find somebody else. Guys, if you look at the free agent list, when we do that show next, and you look at the free agent list, there are a lot of 20-somethings, mid-20-something free agent corners out there. And they're not all bad guys. They're your number 2 guy. You don't need them to be over the top.
DJ Reed.
He's going to want money, but I like him.
We got money.
Both. He's going to want money, and
we got it.
I'll tell you what. If it's up to me, Medikevich is gone. I'm not bringing him back. Dante Jackson, Cam Sutton, gone. Both of them.
Gone.
KZ though, man, I might want him 1 more year. But here's what I think about that dude. He gets hurt every year now.
He does.
He's been hurt the last 2 years. We need some durability back there.
I think. Good. I'm sorry. I was going to say. Go ahead, B. I'll chill. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say there are plenty of guys out there that can do what KZ does at that safety spot as a rotational guy. And I want somebody who's going to be healthy. The best ability is availability, and he doesn't always have it.
Because of the mindset of the Steelers, and when you come to Pittsburgh, put your helmet on because we're going to punch you in the mouth on the defensive side. Most of the time, yes, they slid in the second half of the season, but that was a gauntlet. Let's just keep it a buck. That was a gauntlet who they ran against. I think the Steelers have a better chance of bringing in better talent on defense than they would offense. Because to me, that offense is, like I said, junior high. It's elementary. I don't see any decent talent coming for that offense. But I do think the money is going to be rough, and there's other teams going to be in the taking. But I would like to see Reed. I'd like to see a young, hungry safety back there to push Minka to up your game. Because Minka is, I don't care which, to me, Minka is sliding by on his past life.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
My bad.
We're getting there. No, you're good. We're getting there, though. I just want to let you know we're getting there.
Can't do much when you're playing 30 yards back, man.
Right. So basically, fellas, we're signing back like maybe 3 guys off of this unrestricted free agent roster. Maybe one of the quarterbacks, maybe Najee, maybe Van Jefferson, Landon Roberts. That's really all we said. That's it.
I gotta know what's our depth at corner right now. What's our depth?
Price.
Hold on, depth and quality are 2 different things, though, Waddy.
Yeah, and that was the next question. When somebody answered that, I was going to say, what's the quality of that? Because
Beanie Bishop was better than
Beanie
Bishop was better than Cam Sutton. So
Oh, I have no problem with
There's
Billy
one.
Bishop should have never came off the field to start with. That's a
There's
whole
one
nother
right.
issue.
There's one right there.
But
I say you got Trice.
But the Jackson piece is what I'm worried about, because I say this, before he got hurt, he was playing some good ball. And I don't want to just say, oh, we're not going to re-sign him, versus I like to also see, what am I bringing in? Is it going to be better than what I have? Because if it's not, I got to be careful. You know what I mean?
Free agency
I got to be careful.
Free agency starts March 12th officially at noon, but they can start signing 2 days before. You will know if Jackson is going to come back right away based on who they bring through the door to take a look at. Now, I guarantee
that's
you
what I got to know. I got to know that, because I just can't say, oh, I'm going to let him walk, when I look at what's behind me and I'm like, I don't know about that. Just saying.
I
got to be careful.
I like both Trice and Rush. Like them both.
I do like Rush, but they cut him.
Oh, damn.
They cut him.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Trice is always hurt too, guys. Trice is always.
It will matter. It is going to depend, because Barbara brought up a good point. Are they, with the restructuring of these contracts, how much money will now be freed up? How much money will be free? And I think it's a better chance. I'd love to see a decent, either a young safety who's willing to run around the field, Leatherwood, whether you call it Minka shortcomings or whatever. I'd love to see that, or even a nice veteran at corner that his play, or him even be able to coach Porter, him being able to coach Beanie coming up. Because those guys don't have any leadership at that corner position. They don't. Not in my eyes, they don't.
We got about 14 minutes left, and we have a few more guys to talk about in terms of exclusive rights and restricted free agent. All three of these guys, I think you re-signed. Ryan McCollum, Jeremiah Moon. McCollum is a center. Moon is an outside linebacker. And obviously Jalen Warren. I think you signed him. He's a restricted free agent. But he's not your starting back. That's all I'm going to say about him. Jeremiah Moon, you can go ahead and leave him on the practice squad with McCollum. Those are two solid guys. They got some snaps. They proved their worth a little bit this year, that they're worth keeping around. Let's get into this, fellas. Let's get into trade candidates. I'm going to give you some guys that I think should be traded or cut. Larry Ogunjobi.
Cut him.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Keep him.
George Pickens.
Keep him.
TJ Watt.
Keep him.
I would trade Minka if I could, and I think some teams could still give you an early, not a first round, maybe a decent second round. You don't think you get a second round for Minka? Okay.
No,
then
I know. I'm just saying, as far as trading him, I can't put his, when you're playing 30 yards back, man. I don't know what
that's where I'm at with it.
Want.
Okay.
I mean, then tackling in space is not as easy as people think.
That's where I'm at with you.
But here's my thing. So, and that's because, so you think if he was the 15 yards, like an average 12, 15 yards with the ball, because we see him, I pointed out and I've sent videos where he's almost running away from contact. He don't like to hit like he used to. So now you're putting him 12, 15 yards closer to the ball. I just think if there's other teams that still think Minka has good ball in him, trade him, see if you can get a second or third round pick for him. That would be, I don't think you're getting a first round. And by the Dreams eyes, he don't think you can get a second or a third round for Minka. So if you can't get a second or third round, Minka, why are you so high on keeping him?
I seen a trade someone proposed to the Commanders for Minka, 5th round pick. That's what I seen. I'm just saying what I seen.
Never gonna happen.
There's no way. No way I'm doing that. No way.
It wasn't good. I was like, wow.
He epitomizes the position of safety because he's the last line of defense. Just like you've got a safety on kickoff, just like you've got a safety on punt. I don't know what they teach them or what they tell him, but playing off 30 yards and making sure you're the deepest guy on the field no matter what's happening has really damaged his game.
Okay,
Point blank. We should not. Listen, we should not be having conversation about Minkah Fitzpatrick because
That's
he's
fair.
got all the tools to be an all-pro year in and year out at that position.
Okay.
The problem is they put him at a disadvantage. This goes back to the coach.
And
Okay.
and
So
I think but I'm sorry, I don't want to real quick before
Go ahead,
you
Waddy,
because
go
I
ahead.
want you to think about this. And I know he was covering up for Cam Sutton a hell of a lot when Sutton came on that field. He was trying to cover him up, and it made him look bad. It made him look bad.
So he sees the articles written about him and his games falling off. We saw where they schemed Watt out of 2 games, where Watt had no stats.
A lot of games.
Okay, so the way they schemed. So here's what I'm not getting. If anybody on that team, just like Ben, had earned the right to say what the hell he wanted to say and still run routes across the middle and have games where he threw 5 INTs and never worried about being pulled, Minkah, Watt, and Hayward have earned the right to tell these coaches, this bubblegum bullshit you're calling here is not cutting it, fellas. I don't understand because we have to realize because Watt was taking flack. You're not the great deal, whatever. You got other guys in the game saying, yo, your game has fallen off. I don't understand how Watt is, I don't want to say cool, but he doesn't go in the office putting foot to ass, Lehman, I need to do this. I can do what Garrett does in Cleveland or whatever. I'm better than the shit Minkah Parts talking. And the guy's writing out there, I have 0 stats. Minkah, I'm 30 yards off the ball. Coach, what am I doing 30 yards off the ball? If I'm 30 yards off the ball and helping the team, that is shit. Because that means that ball is 30 yards down the field, or there's no way I can help. And he wasn't. He wasn't coming down. He's not getting picks. He's not coming down, stopping the run. I don't see the benefit of making them doing what they're told in that aspect. Because they've earned the right to let people know.
Let me say this about him not coming downhill and stopping the run. When Beanie Bishop was on the field before Cam Sutton came back, there was a lot of confidence for Minkah to come downhill and make tackles. He was in the top 3 guys a lot of games early in the season because he was coming downhill to make plays. A lot. But once Cam Sutton came back, you're absolutely right, Watt. He I don't know.
Well, let's not forget
was that shit.
I think the only team they played early on that ended up turning out to be a playoff team was the Broncos. So they were playing teams that weren't very good anyway. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I don't know. But when it mattered, when we needed all-pro Minkah to be Minkah, they're playing him 30 yards off the ball. What are you doing? You might as well put him in Siberia. I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
Well, this goes back to D-level coaching, fellas. This is D-level coaching. This is why they are D-level coached. And those guys didn't move on at all. The scapegoats were the inside linebackers coach and the secondary coach. That's who the scapegoats were. It wasn't the defensive coordinator who schemes up what he wants to do each week against these teams. It wasn't him at all.
Hasn't Glenn taken 2 Steeler D coaches already?
Yes.
Hasn't Glenn Well, I'm interested to see Waddy if he gets anything from them. That's what I'm interested to see.
Well, yeah, those guys took the fall mainly because their contract was up. The other guy's contract is not up. The Steelers are not going to pay 100%. You to do nothing.
100%. Yep.
No,
they pay you to show up on Sunday and do nothing. Though.
They're paying Terrell Austin to do nothing.
Whether he's on the street or the sidelines, he ain't doing nothing.
He comes into the building. How about that?
Dude, half that Steeler organization could wear a mask when they cash their checks because they are robbing people. They're robbing.
Like Scooby-Doo, huh, Chops? Take off the mask.
Yeah.
I'd have had it too if it hadn't been for you meddling fans.
If it wasn't for Terrell Austin.
Yeah.
So you guys want to keep Pickens? You want to keep Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick?
Fellas, real quick, Barber said something. And I'm a Warren guy. I like Warren. I really do.
I do too.
Warren is 215. He's short, but he's 215 and he's got strength. But him being hurt last little bit was something.
Yes.
If it comes down to, I'd have to see what the price is. And even if it's within $3 million, $4 million a year, I'd sign Najee before I'd sign Warren if it came down to those two. Only because Najee is durable. That's why. That's it for me. We got rid of Connor because he was. Remember the old joke about Connor? He pulled a thumb muscle signing his contract in Arizona. Then what'd he do? Go to Arizona and ball out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bring
Man.
it back. Hey, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this trivia?
Hit us with it.
All right. Get your Steeler hats on. Oh, you got them on. I'm sorry. What Steeler wide receiver was recruited to Florida State to play quarterback?
Ouija Thompson.
Woo! He pulled it. Ouija, yes. That's Ouija.
Man, I was going through the receivers.
I was going
Good
through, yeah.
job. That was a good pull,
I was
Barbara.
going through the receivers.
Hell yeah.
6'7" Ouija. Listen, Chuck Noll always threw Ouija to fade. Always.
Yep.
Oh, so bad. You knew it was coming.
He was an athlete, yeah.
Fade. All the time.
Fellas, when we get together for the next show, just so folks know, we are going to look at the position of quarterback, running back, wide receiver, D-line, cornerback, safety, kick returner, punt returner, and free agency. You will have a list of free agents for us to take a look at and see how we can manifest a roster together to replace some of the garbage before we draft and before they actually replace the garbage with more garbage.
Fellas, real quick, we had talked about the receiver Johnson or Williams.
Jefferson.
Think about all the issues that the Steelers have had with receivers over the years, right? It's guys they had drafted, and then
they
show their talent,
they divas.
Yeah,
divas.
You're right, but hold on, Marty, hold on. Yeah. But they are, but they all had talent. Then when their numbers started decreasing, they're not getting rocked. Now they become, like I said, divas, pains in the ass, pains in the locker room. So knowing this, put yourself in a wide receiver that's a decent wide receiver for another organization. Why would you not fight it or become a holdout even if you got traded to the Steelers? And I don't think you'd sign because your number one guy, we all know Pickens is a true number one. If you can't even design plays to get him the ball, whether it's on a lot of end arounds or just wide receiver screens, why would they come?
And that's a good question. And before that, we really haven't had to hit the free agent market on receivers because we've been drafting it. We've been drafting our receivers and we were hitting. And then here lately, we kind of hit, but then they become whack jobs. So I think that's part of it too. So we're kind of missing in that sense. But for the most part, we've been able to draft them. And I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't give Roman Wilson, the shot this year to just play. Why? To me, that is baffling. When he was healthy, put dude out there. And the Steelers have been notorious for not really wanting to play rookies. If you think about it, our two offensive linemen that we had, those two rookies, they were kind of forced into the job because of injuries. It's not because we really wanted to do that. And that's that old school mentality also that needs to change. Play those dudes, man.
Yeah.
Wilson could have played those last 5 games and that playoff game.
Yeah. But I think it was Barber who mentioned Cooper Kupp, and they're letting Kupp go because of what Puka's doing. And a lot of these guys, I do see if you had like Wilson, I think Wilson would have been decent. And I think if they got a number 2 and ran routes that were crossing with a nice tight end like Freiermuth, I think that could be you could have a hell of a playbook. I really think you could. But with no imagination, you're wasting. I think Pickens is just being wasted. All the talent Russell Wilson has that feels – because I think they still have talent. And when y'all started to see in the last 2 games where they were rolling out the pocket and Fields was doing his thing, I understand why they didn't keep that. Add RPOs for him. I don't get it. Lack of imagination. I don't get it.
Next time we're digging into free agency, fellas. We've already cut and let guys walk. We've already put on the trading block. Next thing we're going to do as GMs, we are going to take a look at free agency and some of those spots we need to replace guys. Mm-hmm. So great show tonight, fellas. Always fun talking Steeler football with you, men. I know we're all passionate about it. You cut it and we bleed it, black and gold. So until next time, everybody, check out the OSP at originalsportspodcast.com. You can find us everywhere social media is. You see our social media handles up there. right underneath our names. So we're looking forward to you joining us. Make sure you check out our website because we've got a lot of written articles up there now. We're still waiting for Chops' second one, but
You gotta get it jab. See how family do you? See how family do you?
Oh, shoot.
No, seriously, we got a lot of good stuff up there. So keep supporting us, the OSP and Terrible Talk, and we'll see you again real soon.
Treat me like I'm church.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.